Hello, happy new moon. Welcome to Stone Astrology. This is a look at this new moon that we've just moved through on the 11th of January. And remember that the new moon that we're looking at isn't just for the day, it's giving us a whole look at the next 28-day cycle. So we're going to look a little bit at the lunar undercurrents with the new moon conjunct Pluto, and then also what that's doing in connection with the lunar nodes. So we've all collectively just started really the last sort of 6 months moving through a new nodal journey through the axis of Pisces and Virgo. And so with Pluto squaring the lunar nodes for that journey, this can bring up a lot of decisions. Judith Hill talks a lot about when planets square the nodes, you're offered a choice, or you might be pushed to choose at a crossroads. We can see here that T square gives us those two very definitive routes. Whether they can be blended and merged, time will tell, but it will likely be presenting all of us with a decision or a process of transformation that we want to move through. Whether you're working with the South Node to purge out habits, routines, behaviors, and remember, always checking where the planets or where the nodes are triggering your chart by house is always going to give a deeper insight into the environment or the area you might be experiencing those happenings or that specific energy. With Pisces moving towards spiritual growth, moving towards unconditional love, and really with the nodes now moving so close here with Chiron, we've got a conjunction with Chiron and the North Node. This influx of wounds to heal, or if you've already done a lot of wound healing and you can track your Chiron in your chart, I sense, and this is just a perspective, please share your thoughts, experiences. You know, astrology can be read in so many different ways. With the North Node, it's an amplification point in our chart. So wherever the North Node is traveling through our chart, it's bringing energy, it's amplifying that area of our life. And in Pisces, collectively moving towards our spiritual growth in that area. So again, checking where the North Node is in your chart. And with Chiron there, there'll be a lot of lessons available for us to learn, to work through. Chiron's been in Pisces for a while. It went retrograde. It's now gone by direct. And so some things that you were working through the last year, so about a year ago, you may have been revisiting. Depending, remember, we always root it back to our chart. So my experience of Chiron is going to be very different from your experience of Chiron. Chiron I see as the wounds that we have to learn to heal as part of our life journey. Some people may do it more quickly than others. And once we've mastered that, they also become our gifts and our healing gifts. So especially with Chiron and Pisces, if you're born with a natal Chiron and Pisces, this is going to be an important time for you to heal potential insecurity, self-worth, being able to step into your spiritual power or share your creativity, something around those shadow wounds that Pisces can sometimes come up with, being too much in a victim mode or martyr mode. I'll do a video on the Pisces light and shadow aspects because that might be interesting for those with a natal Chiron to actually uncover as a way of discovering what those deeper wounds are as part of your longer spiritual transformation in this lifetime. And in general, as a collective, we've got that point accented. So as this influx of information comes in, trace your Chiron back in your own natal chart. Is your Chiron in Leo? Is your Chiron in Gemini? All of these different placements for Chiron will come with a different healing mood in this lifetime. Bear in mind that it's still an asteroid. So it's one of the, it's actually a comet, but it's not a planet. It's a dwarf planet. Is not one of your big major planets. So, for example, if you haven't got Chiron accented in your chart by aspect, by the angles, for example, or on the planets, or in some some prominent aspect with the planets. This may be more of a subtle shift, or maybe more subtle information that comes through for you. If you don't have Chiron accented powerfully in your chart, that might be a wound that is less prominent for you as an energy you work with in this lifetime. You know, I've been working with a woman who has Chiron on her ascendant in Aries, so big wounds healing, wound healing around self-identity, especially there on the ascendant, and who she's showing up as in the world. Remember, Chiron is the centaur that would heal with herbs, and it just turns out that she has this amazing connection with herbs. She's off to go and do her herbalist training, and we can see that there in her chart. It's all about healing those wounds around self-identity so she can show up and be that healer and share those gifts. So I don't really like using the word healer, but with Chiron, it's there. And we all do, I believe, as humans, have our own unique healing gifts to share in this lifetime. And that's why, as well, Chiron we experience in different places and different signs, because often I see it as a little gateway or a little porthole to show us, what's your gift? What have you got? Using this system, what can you share with the world? And what do you need to heal around that? So this is the information that's available and might be coming in for some people with the North Node and Chiron there during this new moon cycle, and just in general. As the nodes now begin to move closer toward, as the North Node moves closer to Chiron, this is only going to get amplified. Especially this moon cycle is a good time to reflect on those themes that I'm talking about in connection with the nodes, because the new moon is triggering Pluto, and Pluto is there squaring the nodes. Pluto, deep transformation, purging. And so what direction are you taking? You might feel that you're being pulled in two directions, or needing to be in two places. Gosh, I feel at the moment, I feel like I'm in three places. I'm in the UK, I'm in Mexico, I'm in Guatemala right now. I've literally been saying that to my friends. I'm feeling like my energy is very energetically in many places. I'm feeling that pull and that push. There's a lot of powerful things happened on the new moon yesterday. For me personally, so I'd be interested to hear if anyone else had a strong experience in connection with spirituality, in connection with transformation within spirituality. It might be people around you. Remember, look into the house. Where is Sagittarius in your house? 21 degrees Sagittarius, and Pluto has just moved 0 degrees Capricorn. So how does Sagittarius relate to you in your energy? This is when we're working with the lunar phase, beyond it just being the new moon, and looking at what the new moon is doing to your chart energies. Take a look at where that 21 degrees Sagittarius is in your sidereal chart. And you can do this on astro.com, layer the new moon photo over your birth chart. What planets is it triggering? You know, are there key aspects by square, opposition, trines? What gateway do you have? As a collective, we have a nice little gateway here with the new moon, utilizing the trine to Juno. Juno, goddess of the moon cycle. She was Hera, the wife of Zeus. So Juno, the wife of Jupiter. So those are the Roman and the Greek names. We're using the Roman names, Jupiter and Juno. And so really Juno teaches us, and I'm learning a lot about Juno. I've only been working with her really for the last year. So learning through people's charts. Again, please post if you have any insights on where your sidereal Juno is, or if she's prominent in your chart. Someone with a Juno in Leo is going to be very proud. Juno's already very proud. She'd get very angry at Jupiter when he would go off and have affairs, and then but she was very loyal at the same time. So there's a bitterness and a resentment that can come. Fears of abandonment is something that shows up with Juno, and all of these we're able to use this gateway of the new moon to purge out, especially with that conjunction to Pluto. Someone with Juno in Leo may have, fears or abandonment fears around their creativity, or failing, or not feeling good enough self-worth, not having self-worth, being not able to actually step into their creative power and expression, which is very Leo, feeling like that if they do it, it might get lost or they might lose it. So just maybe tap into where Juno is natally for you. Again, she is one of the astral goddesses, so if she's not accented in your chart, she's not going to be a main theme in your life. If she is, have a look at those energies. What sign is she in? What abandonment themes come up for you in that sign? Or how do you relate? What's your attachment style to that sign? You know, someone with a Juno in Scorpio might actually have quite an obsessive, quite, you know, a little bit of a dark side when it comes to getting even. You know, Scorpio already has that tendency. So how can we use Juno this new moon as a gateway to purge out insecurities, to purge out any um, any abandonment issues that we may or may not have around spiritual transformation or choices that we're going through right now, choices being the square that Pluto's making to the nodes about how we're moving forward through our spiritual growth and development, and what the North Node in Pisces, and what we're purging out, what habits, what routines. This may include places, people, big changes, health routines. I have someone working with a woman at the moment. She's got the South Node bang on her Pluto. The Pluto is also triggered in a natal her MC, and she went through a huge health purging. She's gone keto, and that's now been a sustained life change she wants to move through. So health issues, health goals, health themes or changes. That is a general routine change, changing your diet completely. South Node in Virgo. And it was also in her sixth house. So look at what Virgo represents for you in your chart. If you've got Virgo in the second, you might be changing your habits, your routines, your behaviors around how you structure your finances. What's important to you? What's not important to you? How material are you? How materialistic are you? How important is that? You know, how are you able? What balance are you working with? Are you not taking enough care towards creating a stable routine within your financial within the financial area of your life? So it's all going to be completely dependent on all of us. So again, really looking at the node and what house they're in right now for you as we move through the rest of this. We've been through 6 months, so we've got the 18 months is the full nodal cycle. So we've got about, oh gosh, my maths off the bat, 6 months into an 18-month cycle with the nodes. So it's about a year and a half, about half a year into another year with this cycle of growth and change and development, and a big process of development, whether part of that development is purging out at the South Node or part of that development. And that purging out is going to be things that are more physical, more material world, businesses in a sense, like what's your day-to-day reality? What's your routine? What business are you doing? What shifts are happening within that? What's your relation to that in connection with your spiritual goal, your spiritual path? Doesn't matter whether you're doing it for a living. Our spiritual path is our life. So we're all having our feet, one foot in front of the other. And so whatever your spirituality calls you, whether you're making sustenance from it or not, really doesn't matter, because it's part of who you are, and that's part of your spiritual development, spiritual growth, understanding in this lifetime. And so what is that to you, and how is it relating to your everyday life? How are you feeding that? What needs to go in your everyday life, your habits, your routines, so that you can actually grow that part of you? And so this is a big, big theme that's being triggered for us collectively this new moon with Pluto there. Pluto's going, right, boom, let's bring all of that hidden information or darkness to the light, bringing everything that's underneath the surface and just transform it up. And so some of us may be faced with really, really big choices this moon cycle, almost like push to make a decision. Might not feel like we're ready to make, but we got to make it, because we can either go left or right. There's no in between. This is the square that we're experiencing, that the new moon is triggering. And these might be things that have started being triggered for you 6 months ago. When this, roughly around the time when the nodes, when Pluto squared the nodes, this is information you already know. This has been a build up. It's been building up for you, this choice. And now it might be to do with your house. It might be to do with moving places, moving country, renovation, whatever it is, work, environment, all of these things. There's something, habits within you, physical habits, health habits, people, places, everything that, or things that are important to you that are making up your material realm. What is going out and what needs to go out so that you can actually free up more space to move forward with your spirituality. So with the new moon 21 degrees Sagittarius, remember this is a wise Sagittarius. It's moved through the sign, moved through the Sagittarius sign, learning the sun and the moon, now meeting the sun in the conjunction of the new moon. And so broadest perspective, seeing the bigger picture, the deeper meaning, understanding all of the Sagittarian traits of the philosophy, the spiritual perspectives. So there is a big potential for spiritual transformation for us all in connection with whatever Sagittarius represents for you in your chart energies through how you embody it in your personalities via the planets, where it is in your area of life via the houses. Whatever Sagittarius represents for you and through you and how you embody that sign, this is the spiritual transformation that has the opportunity for soul growth. This part of your energy, this part of your chart, there's an opportunity, this moon cycle to begin that process. And you're going to be doing it consciously or not. And I really see this with the moon cycles, whether we consciously flow with the potentials available or whether we let them happen, we can always reflect back and see how we were working with those energies. So what's the benefit of kind of having an overview or seeing the potentials? Well, it just means that we can bring that into our periphery vision, be more aware of it, and then work with those energies in a different way. And yes, our choices may change. You might make more growth and development by consciously feeding that part of your soul, by consciously feeding that part of your chart. It's like when we're growing plants, you might water it a bit, daily, or you might talk to it. You might really communicate with the plant. You might really show love to the plant. You're going to see it's going to grow a lot more. My dad's a gardener. He's always talking to his plants. They grow amazingly. So it's in that way we can see working with the lunar cycles and working specifically with the lunar cycles, because it might be just in general with astrology, but working with the moon, she rules the unconscious realm. And I do sense that having that soft gaze and not being so controlled or obsessed with the moon and where she is, and but just allowing it to happen, but being aware of certain outer transits that are happening, which is really important. What are the outer planetary bodies doing? And then as the moon moves through our charts, through the 28-day cycle, we're just aware of the bigger themes going on in our life. We might be aware that there's a particular part or area of our life that when the moon goes through in our chart, that she triggers a planet, or it's a good time or we can utilize that energized moment, or, that might be a good time just to zone in, create structure. So there's all different ways we can work with the moon and how she triggers our natal planets. But having that conscious awareness, because, if it's already going to happen, what's the point of working with astrology? Well, like I say, it's that nourishing, giving that nourishment to the soul growth and the potentials that are available. And so by working with the lunar cycle in that way, we then really begin to feed ourselves, feed our environment, nourish behaviors, change habits. And so this cycle, spiritual transformation is a big one, really. And we have Mars trining Jupiter, very energized placement towards growth of resources, growth of whatever Aries represents in your chart. You'll find that you might naturally be receiving an amplification. Could have been happening again the last 6 months. My bad, I'm looking at this chart. Check where Jupiter is in Aries in your chart. If it's just started in one house, it will take about a year through each house, through each sign. So if it's in the middle of the house, you'll be about 6 months in. And so check that area of life. Check that area of life in your chart and track what has been growing, what has been amplifying. Jupiter in Aries is very energized. Enables us to build resources in that area of our life, building resources through the self, through self-entrepreneurship. Even if you're not an entrepreneur, this would be a good time towards growth of self-identity, growth towards creative goals, growth towards whatever Aries represents in your chart. You know, if Aries is one of the relationship houses, this may be a time that you're actually growing. You're growing your own sense of self-identity within your relationships. Um, your sense of independence as well, and finding a healthy interdependence with those that you work with or those that you live with, or whatever those relationships may be showing up for you. Those with a natal Jupiter in Aries are going to naturally, and this is sidereal, are going to naturally be people that can amplify and grow things at a very fast level. So needing to remember to slow down and to create balance. You know, what is mine and what is not mine. You know, I can't have everything. So, you know, what am I giving away? Libra. Those with the Jupiter and Libra might be the other way around, you know, being able to create that balance between the self and the other. And so with this new moon, we have Mars in a trine with Jupiter. This is a really nice gateway. It's a supporting, it's a supporting aspect for us all to be able to put action towards our spiritual goals, spiritual dreams. And even if you say, well, I'm not spiritual, yes, you are. You were born with a heartbeat, you're born with a pulse, you're born on this planet. And well, if you're looking at this video, there's definitely a part of you that has that spirituality. I mean, if anyone who's looking at astrology videos on YouTube, is connected with their spirituality. But regardless, you'll see that there is this opportunity available for people who wouldn't necessarily say that they're spiritual. You know, this is part of our broader horizons, the deeper meaning in our lives, wherever you, however you find that meaning. You might not be someone that's looking at astrology videos, but you might find deeper meaning through art. You might find deeper meaning through community connections. So whatever that part of your life that has deep meaning, this is something that the soul can explore this moon cycle and also put action to with Mars there and have successful growth with the trine to Jupiter. Whatever, and if you are someone working in the spiritual field, this is a really huge cycle to work towards goals for spiritual growth, spiritual transformation, and that really beautiful gateway between Mars and Jupiter just to grow those goals and have the sustained action and the energy of action to be able to do that. Again, this all depends on what the new moon is doing to your chart. You know, that might be more successful for you. I don't know if that's the right word to use, but you might find that easier. But if you've got some hard aspects that you're working with, or if the new moon is triggering your chart, or if Saturn's involved, if there are some of the planets that will slow things down, you know, you're going to have a different experience of that than someone else who doesn't necessarily have those challenges within this cycle. And so that's then when we can look at the intricacies and the subtleties to your own natal chart. Please get in touch with me if you want one-to-one readings. And looking at this moon cycle, we're looking also at a 2.25 year longer lunar gestation growth cycle. So beyond this new moon just being triggering your chart, if this Pluto new moon conjunction is prominent in your chart by aspect, triggering a point, a planet, an angle, this is setting off and kicking off a 2.25 year longer cycle of growth, change, and development in 9 months, in 9 month cycles. And so you can join my Moon Gazers community, and you can check out the free masterclass that I'm doing in there. And this is really what's available. So if this is, and you'd be surprised, the moon triggers our chart more often than we think, the new moon. So it's likely that this new moon is doing something particular to your chart. And so have a look at it. Go to astro.com, Cafe Astrology. Let me know in the comments. And definitely use this moon cycle for growth, inspiration, There is an energy of action there, but know that this is not about rushing things. It's not about just diving all in. If there are bigger goals or bigger dreams that you're working towards that you feel that this moon cycle is in alignment with, know that this starting phase is just beginning that action and just allowing things to organically grow. We can see a lot of change and growth and development over 28 days, but what the sustained long-term growth is, that's part of this bigger cycle, will reveal itself into in a quarter years. And so having that in your periphery vision, having that in your inner awareness allows us to work with our unconscious mind that we're functioning from 90% of the time, to be able to actually redirect and realign our habits, our behaviors, our actions, our choices towards what are spiritual goals. What's your spiritual, what are you developing spiritually right now? What habits, routines are going? All of the things I spoke about on the South Node in Virgo. And what action are you moving forward with? What resources are you growing? And so even just putting these ideas down, even just actually creating a vision board or making this a reality right now, this is and especially if they're longer term goals, this is going to be something that's going to really benefit the long term growth of those goals, of those dreams. And then just taking time to go inwards. The first few days of the new moon are always that time of like moving in and going, right, what are the deeper meaning for me in my life right now? In connection with my spirituality, in connection with what I'm moving forward with, what habits, routines, and material parts of my life I'm purging out. It could even, how are you working with your resources as well? Because Jupiter does rule resources. It's a success point in our chart. It's an amplification point. It sometimes needs to know boundaries. And it's very energized there, this moon cycle with Mars trining it. So utilizing that energy of action, but just taking it easily, allowing for the natural growth and expansion to come. And again, looking at where these planets are triggering the area of life and chart, and your planets is going to give you some deep information. So get in touch with me if you want one-to-one readings, and sending you many blessings for this moon cycle.